that they actually put her in the Superman comics as one of his childhood friends.
Yeah, but it will be unique how they do Krypton, because it doesn't make sense of how they can do Smallville again.
Well, no, they're not going to do... They won't. I think what we'll see is... This might just be a show just filled with political intrigue. And just...
It could be, Krypton before everything happens.
Well, exactly. I think this is what we're going to see. That we could see the lead up to the...
Birth of Superman. Not
just the birth of Superman, but we could see... Jor-El, who is Superman's father. We could see, they kind of teased in Smallville that at one point he and Zod were friends when they were younger. But because of some refusal that Jor-El, I think Zod asked Jor-El to go off and to use his scientific knowledge to bring back his dead wife. And that led to... friction within the relationship. And so we could see, maybe something like what they did with Smallville, where at the beginning, Clark Kent and Lex Luthor were friends. And so, perhaps that's what we'll see.
Yeah, but unique, because as everyone knows, Superman leaves the planet as a baby before the planet blows up. So it's not a whole lot that they can do about Superman before all that.
But here's the thing, we know in the comics, one of the big things is that the planet actually does survive, and Superman has got a shrunk down version of it and his Fortress of Solitude.
That's a unique aspect too, but I don't foresee them going that route. I'd love to see them go that route.
I think that would be an interesting way to... When they would eventually finish the series, I think that would be a interesting thing to go off and to do.
To tie into the movies, too.
Yeah.
So, Daredevil, as we all know...
which is not DC, it's actually Marvel.
Well, then I guess we're not talking about it. We'll bring it up at the end of the show.
I know you're very excited about it.
I am extremely excited about it, but we'll talk about it at the end of the show.
Yeah, we'll bring it up at the end of the show.
So... There's a lot of rumors going on about Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, yeah, that's...
we all have grown up with multiple different Green Lanterns. We've known quite a few of them by different names.
I mean, and the two most famous ones, that at least for me, are Hal Jordan, who was the original a human Green Lantern.
Yeah.
At least the one they showed there was... I'm trying to remember, there may have been another Green Lantern before him, but who didn't actually have any of the galactic powers that he received
on the site. For some reason, they listed Guy Gardner before Hal Jordan, so it's possible,
I went off and did research on Green Lantern a long time ago, and so while I've always thought that, it was always certain that Hal Jordan was the first Green Lantern, Guy does come up, and I do know that at one point there is like 3 or 4 human Green Lanterns, and what they usually would do is that a couple of them would stay on planet Earth, and the others would go back to the planet Om.
Yeah.
And, kind of, work there, and they would trade off every once in a while.
Yeah.
And so what we could see is there's a possibility that they're going to bring out a movie, and it would be from what I remember reading, it would be called the Green Lantern Corp. And so it would be about a bunch of Green Lanterns on planet Earth. There was actually, at one point, planet in the comics was destroyed. And so the Green Lantern Corp actually relocated to planet Earth.
Yeah, they're also talking about, though, making a separate movie for different Green Lanterns. So you could see as many as 3 different Green Lanterns having their own separate movie, so everybody, and they're designing this so everybody has that character that they, believe in, that they follow, so it reaches more public. I don't know if it's a smart idea.
Honestly,
it's a tough idea.
I was one of those people who actually sort of enjoyed the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie.
I was on the fence.
And one of the big things is that the big reveal at the end of the movie where Sinestro
Spoiler!
puts... Well, I mean, the movie's been out for a couple of years, so
we still have to say spoiler.
Fine, spoiler if you haven't watched the movie that came out several years ago. Because, if you haven't, either you're blessed or shame on you.
Hey, I'm just repeating what our producers are saying in our ears.
I think that's just your cat.
She's my producer now.
But anyways, so at the end of his Sinestro, actually, backing up a little bit, there is a villain that is made of pure fear. Sinestro suggests that they go off and make a ring that is made of fear to combat it. But what happens is how it proves that they don't need it. He goes off and beats this creature on his own. And at the end of his Sinestro, though, he puts on the yellow ring of fear, and his whole costume turns yellow and black, and that would be the beginning of the Sinestro Corp.
And that would be why we fear bumblebees so much.
But what the thing is unless you are familiar with the DC universe of Sinestro, that spoiler didn't mean a whole heap and a lot.
No.
And so, apparently a lot of people were confused as to that, and some people felt that actually took away from the story.
I think it might have.
And so, I mean, if you really look at it, there's actually multiple different corps that have rings of power for different emotions. And
yeah, I believe in a lot of the cartoons, the red and green were definitely the main focus ones, but there was purple.
Yeah, there was Love, which was, I believe, was purple.
Love was purple.
And there was Hope, which was blue, I believe.
Yeah, I believe Hope was blue. I didn't see the Hope one very much.
And, yeah,
Red obviously was Rage.
It was Rage. And then there was one that was Greed. I can't remember. I think it was Orange was Greed.
Probably.
And so, I mean... I don't know how they could really tie that all in really well. I think they would almost have to maybe, try to... If they're going to bring up Sinestro and the Sinestro Corp, they may want to go off and kind of bring that up in the beginning of the story to kind of bring people up to speed.
Yeah.
Instead of going off and... Or have it go off and have it... At the beginning of the story, so they can build up to the villain.
If DC wanted to do it right, they do with Green Lantern what they've done with Iron Man. Spread it out, show a lot, because obviously there's a lot in Green Lantern to do. A lot of different characters, a lot of different storylines. So, but unfortunately, the Green Lantern film is not scheduled until 2020. So,
well, that's just because, I mean, it's in development, so who knows if we will ever actually see it.
Yeah, which is the downside. I hate when movies are in development. So, before we move on to the next one, the four main, Green Lanterns are Hal Jordan,
right.
Guy Gardner, John Stewart, which is another more popular one, and Kai Rayner, which I actually don't know much about.
Yeah, see, I'm familiar with the name, and I think he might have been I still think he might have been one that came afterwards. I know, although he shows up in a lot of games, there was a couple of games that were in past, like, I think in PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, where you could play as, like, two different superheroes. I think it was back, actually, with the PlayStation 2, and there was a game where you could go through with a couple different characters, and there was three different Green Lanterns available in that game. I know on the Lego Batman 3, there is at least three Green Lanterns in that game as well.
Which is why I'm not exactly unhappy that DC is thinking about doing three different Green Lantern characters in different movies. I think it's a unique idea.
And I actually just had to go back and double-check the name. Therese Gibson, who is best known for the Transformers and Fast and Furious franchises, has teased that he would be a part of this Green Lantern Corps movie.
That would be unique to see.
And I don't know if he would then possibly be the actor to play Jon Stewart or not.
That could be a unique possibility. So everyone knows about Gotham. It's a huge DC thing. I think it's probably one of their more huge things right now.
We've stated this on a couple of times in the past that we don't agree on necessarily on the show. I happen to think that the best show that DC has produced is The Flash. You happen to be a much bigger fan of Gotham.
Yes, I am a much bigger, which right now the news coming on of Gotham I'm excited for. A lot of big developments. Season 2 starts September 21st. I cannot wait. Jessica Lucas has been cast as Tigress. Tabitha Gallivan, who is basically a violent but attractive criminal with a whip.
Sounds familiar.
It does sound very familiar, but it's with a whip.
Yes, and Catwoman.
But Catwoman was well, no, she was a criminal.
Yes, she
was. But that's besides the point. Catwoman's too young to have a whip.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm thinking that maybe we'll see Selina go off and turn to her. I mean, at the end of season 1, she kind of decided she was going to side with Fish Mooney.
Yes.
And, now that...
Not surprised.
And, Fish is gone, so she might be looking for a new mentor.
They are hinting that it's going to be Selina's kind of come-out season. That they're definitely going to push her, attitude and everything else a lot more this year. Plus other people's. So anyways, Tigress is the lead enforcer for her billionaire brother, Theo, who aspires to take over Gotham, which is nothing new. That's pretty much every episode of last season. There was Fish Mooney wanted to take over. The Don wanted to take over.
Well, the thing is, Don Falcone, he was in charge, more or less, of Gotham, almost during, throughout the first season. Now that he's retired, he's went off and he told, the Penguin, he's told, Gordon that he's retiring and he's leaving. This completely opens up for the Penguin to take over. Now, we do know
the Penguin wants to take over. I don't think the Penguin will ever get his city.
Here's the thing. We know that he's now kind of in charge because he's killed off Fish Mooney. The other Don...
See, that's the problem I have when you say kill off Fish Mooney.
Well, I mean, and I'm here's hoping that Jada Smith does come back. But, I mean, at this point, DC has said that she's done with the show. She was only supposed to be a character for the first season. But the way that she dies, and I say that, and I kind of, put the little... quotations in the air with my fingers as I'm saying it, is she gets thrown off the top of, this building into, the water. Into the bay. And so, I mean, there's a possibility that she could have survived that, considering a lot of the things that she went through during that season. Yeah,
they're definitely leaving the door open for her to return, so I think that's a unique aspect. So maybe it's not so much that she was done, but maybe just done for the season.
Well, and again, it's her contract was only for the one season. She's not scheduled at this time to come back. Yeah. But, I mean, the way that they offed her, and again, I'm doing the quotations in the air, does leave for her to come back later on if she chooses.
This is the best door open that I have seen in a while.
And, I mean, considering that Fish Mooney was a character completely created for Gotham, I mean...
Yeah, they can bring her back whenever they want, because it's not in the comic books. It's not done in DC before. This is a complete brand new character designed just for Jada.
Exactly.
So that's very unique. So I hope she comes back. She was an awesome aspect of Gotham.
She was just, I don't know.
Ruthless.
She was ruthless. She was really sexy. I know that when she came in to try out for the part, she actually came in some sexy outfit, and she had, had a man, who was wearing, I think, nothing but, like, a thong or something on a leash, and he was walked in, crawled in on all fours, and that helped her get the part, apparently.
Which,